Valerie here today. And Valerie and me, we just talked about, we know each other from probably 2 years ago in Portugal. We met at the beach. Um, and I don't even know, no, we didn't went surfing, but we were at the beach together. And yes, I invited Valerie here because she's very multi-passionated as well. And she's sitting in Honolulu right now in Hawaii. So it was a bit tricky to find a time zone where it's fitting for both of us because I am in Germany. But finally we made it. So yeah, hey Valerie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, it's late. It's 11 p.m., but I'm
Mhm.
happy, awake, and happy to be here. And hello from Hawaii, a dreamland, really. So I am a designer. I come from Canada, but in the past 10 years, I had a nomadic life that I've been living in different countries. So 10 years ago, I moved to Milan, and then I moved to Malta and Portugal, and then Bali, Costa Rica, and now it's Hawaii. So I keep moving. I don't really call it traveling because I get to live in a place, which is very different than when you just travel. When you live in a place, you like really get to know the culture, geography, sometimes the language, and it's fun. It's a really non-conventional lifestyle. I never thought I would be living this type of life at all, but that's life, and I yeah, I'm really grateful that I'm creating a life that is free and which allows me to move around, to explore. Um, yeah, because there's so much to see and explore in this world.
When I met you, you were launching Ocean Spoken with sponges, right? With kitchen sponges. And
Yes.
maybe you want to tell a little bit about the projects you're creating. And we already talked about a little bit in the beginning. And you said pretty much with every moving almost, you created a new project. So, what was this project about when you were in Portugal?
So, yeah, I feel like when I move, so I live in a different country for like a year or two. It just happens like this. And as a designer, I'm also an entrepreneur. So I have an idea and then I'm like, okay, I can make this happen. As a designer, so I'm industrial designer. So I can manufacture things, I can design things and then send that to production and actually like mass produce it. And even though at that time I worked for a cosmetic company, I realized that living by the sea or by the ocean, there's a lot of plastic waste on the shores. And in that moment, I was like, I am a designer of cosmetics, which is plastic, because cosmetic things, they cannot be recycled and they end up in the oceans, sadly. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to work in sustainability. I don't want to design things that are made out of plastic that just end up in the ocean or in the landfill. So I decided to change my lifestyle to zero plastic as much as possible. And this is coming from someone, from a designer who's been creating things from plastic. So it was a very drastic change of living when I'm like, I don't want to use a regular shampoo, for example. So now I use shampoo bars that don't have any plastic packaging, that just come in solid forms, where like bamboo toothbrushes, of course, like no plastic water bottles or bags, like completely. So I went through my whole house and thinking, like, what can I change to zero plastic? And of course, I realized that you cannot completely eliminate plastic just because there are so many things that have to be made from plastic. But as long as it's not one-time use, like you really have to get rid of one-time use plastic items.
Hmm.
So, in that process of changing my lifestyle, I came across a kitchen sponge, which I never even thought that it's made out of plastic. Like many people, we really don't think that it's plastic based, and it's not recyclable. And my whole thing was about creating a dishwashing sponge that is completely biodegradable, um, At that time, this was 4 years ago when I had this idea, there weren't so many eco-friendly sponges on the market. And when I did my research, I found out that even the eco-friendly ones, it's more about greenwashing. And
Mm.
on the packaging, it says that they're biodegradable, but actually, if you look at the materials and if you study the materials, they're not. So back then, I was really passionate about this whole plastic thing. And I was like, if I cannot find a perfect sponge, I'm just going to make one. So it took me 2 years in development, lots of different factories, prototyping, and then a minimum quantity order was something like 20,000 sponges I had to order. And I did a Kickstarter campaign, crowdfunded this project, got the order, and yeah, it was a successful project. But over the years, I realized that in order to do something in sustainability, you really need a team. It being like one person doing everything is just not going to fly. Um, yeah, that was so. Anyways, back then it was all about sustainability for me and really
Mhm.
trying to clean up our beautiful earth from
Yeah, I
plastic trash.
remember that you also gave me a cosmetic sponge, I think, for the face or something. There was
Yes.
like literally when you put like super thin and when you put water on, it was like
Expanding.
increasing, expanding. Um,
Hmm.
and I remember that you got yeah, the Kickstarter was successful, and we celebrated that
We
in a
celebrated,
restaurant
yes.
in Lagos.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that was the time when I was in Portugal. So I moved from Malta to Portugal. I actually moved there. Like I packed my life, I moved, and then I had a friend in Bali who went to Bali, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to come to Bali?" And I was like, "I just moved to Portugal. I just spent a month here, but the winter was coming, and I
Hmm.
don't like, and it felt cold in Portugal." So I packed my stuff again and I moved to Bali. But yes, there in Lagos, while I was still there, I launched the project again on crowdfunding and we celebrated the launch.
Hmm.
Yes.
So when you were in Bali, you started to do bikinis, right?
Yes. So when I came to Bali, I was again shocked about all of the plastic trash
Hmm.
because they don't have any recycling system in place. There's some fireworks. I don't know if you can hear. No?
No, just very, very lightly.
Very lightly. They really love. I was warned that on New Year's Eve is just going to be non-stop fireworks. Anyways, yes, Bali. I was so shocked and honestly depleted because I was like, the scale of the problem is so big that I don't know what to do. I was there, my friend moved there and she was like, I cannot find any bikinis because all of the bikinis that they make, they're so tiny. There's some like XXX small for their like Balinese sizes, I guess. And it was her idea. It was the first time that I was collaborating with someone. And we did an awesome line of bikinis. They're made from recycled ocean plastic. We didn't make the fabric. We found a company in Italy that specializes in making recycled fabric, which you wouldn't even think that this is recycled fabric because it looks just like any other fabric. And they make like yoga wear, sports wear, bikini wear, like everything that is kind of nylon stretchy, but it's made out of ocean plastic. So that brand is called Ocean Spoken, and we have like a versatile. They have two colors in one, and handmade in Bali from this awesome recycled fabric.
What do you think made you like, have you always been like that you wanted to move from one place to the other, or what was that like evolving throughout the time?
No, it just happened. So when I moved from Canada to Italy, it was my dream. Like Italy was my absolute dream. And I thought that I would stay there forever and ever, have a family, live until I die there. And that that didn't happen. Honestly, that didn't happen. COVID changed things. So COVID was a really big, well, changing place for many people. And I moved to France and then I started moving. So I don't, when I ask myself like why my lifestyle is the way that it is, ultimately I'm searching for a place that would feel like home. But also I'm picky because I need a warm climate. And I really want to live by the ocean or the sea, and south of Europe just wasn't warm enough. So I'm moving in search for that kind of perfect weather, which I found here in Hawaii. Because in Bali and Costa Rica, it's very humid. Like there is this humidity that, and also it does something to the brain that the brain just relaxes so much. Like I'm pretty sure you've all seen videos of like people who live at Bali and they're all like chilling and they're like, oh, I'm working here under the palm tree, but I'm not really working. I mean, there's some people who are really focused, but I felt like I became unfocused and yeah, I just couldn't get things done because my brain was melting
Mhm.
pretty much. So I from Bali, I wanted to move. Like I felt like after half of a year, it was already like enough. Even though I really love Bali, I really love their culture. I really love that essence that they have. And I went to Costa Rica um, for a retreat. My friends invited me to stay there with them for like a week. And so instead of 2 weeks in Costa Rica, I stayed for the whole year, which wasn't planned at all. It's just uh, my journey led me to stay there in Costa Rica. And then I also had enough of it. And again, the climate is very, um, I mean, I just realized that I couldn't live in a climate that is super humid. And then my dream for many years was Hawaii.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm just going to make it happen and I will go to Hawaii. And here I think for the first time, I'm feeling like a feeling that this could be home.
Mhm. What does it mean for you home?
I feel like it's when you just feel comfortable, when you feel like you love this place, you're like happy to be here. And I'm so happy to be here like every single day when I go outside, I'm like, this is just it's that feeling, um, it's pleasant.
Mhm. What do you like? So you started in Costa Rica with painting sunsets, right? And like sunset meditations with others?
So this came from my ayahuasca experience. In my journey, I was told that it's very important for me to reconnect with my art. And so, rewind to when I was younger, I learned how to paint. So, I started as an artist. Um, and then, when it was time to choose a career, I was like, art, who cares about art? I need to do something more practical. So I decided, like, I really had to make a choice if I go into art or if I go to like a practical way of living and being as a designer. And a designer, industrial designer, making things for people, functional things for people. And there in Costa Rica, in that journey, I realized that it's important to reconnect with my essence, with my like heart, with my soul, which is linked to art. Something that I put away as like, you know, when I'll have time, when I'll have that inspiration and whatever. And there in Costa Rica, I was like, okay, so again, the time is now. I'm going to get back to painting, to my essence. And I made myself a rule that I would go every single evening for sunset and I would paint the sunset. So I've been painting pretty much every single sunset except for when it like rains. And I have a few here that I will show because I continued painting here in Hawaii as well. Here are some of the sunsets. They're just sketches and they represent like different mood, different essence because sunsets are really unique, you know. They don't repeat. They're just one of a time. So I was painting and painting and painting, and then I would invite my friends to join me, and they would join, and I would do like a little meditation for them. So people who never painted before, or they painted when they were kids, they would sit with me, and I would do like a little meditation connecting to the sound of the ocean, to the, to the air, and we would do a painting of the setting sun, like similar to what I showed you. And it wasn't the point wasn't to paint a beautiful sunset. It was just to reconnect with yourself and just paint and forget about the rest of the world kind of thing. Um, and that was awesome. I really loved it. I really loved the feeling that it was giving people. And my friends were like, listen, you need to do this on a bigger scale, like for groups of people, for tourists. And I never thought of you know, doing like meditations with people or painting sessions or working with people because my work is usually on the computer, isolated because all of the design is done on the computer. And there I was exposed to people. And then in that area where I lived in Costa Rica, it's called Nasara, and there are many retreats that happen. So a lot of people come there for yoga retreats or meditation retreats, all sorts of like mindful practices. And I got invited to lead sunset painting meditation groups for some of the retreats. And then I had like 10 or 20 people sometimes sitting down and painting. And that was absolutely beautiful experience. I loved it. And there's something else that I will show. Um, I created a deck of cards. So they're like affirmation cards from my sunsets that I painted. So it looks like this. This one is the sunsets that I painted in Costa Rica.
Maybe you can
And
also explain because some people are listening to the podcast, so they don't see the video. So it's both.
okay,
Yeah.
so this is just a deck of cards that has a picture of a sunset,
Mm-hmm.
the one that I painted, and then I took a photograph and I made, they're called affirmation cards or oracle cards. You know, some people call them differently. Um, and each card has a unique word on it and a little saying. So I developed the cards. We'll pull a card now for this podcast. But I developed these cards as a tool to unblock people's creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, this is going to be an example, just to kind of explain how I use the cards. So someone would pull the card and it says abundance,
Mm-hmm.
and here it says everything you need, you already have.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my sunset, and the word is abundance. And then I would ask a person painting. So before they start painting, they pull a card, and I ask them, when you look at the sunset, look at it through the lens of abundance. Where do you see abundance in this? Abundance in clouds. Maybe there are many clouds, or abundance in sun ray, or the waves. And they would get like the cards really helped for them to unblock something. So basically, they would see the sunset, but also notice the feeling of abundance. And then they would paint with that feel of abundance. And that was really beautiful. Like it's a beautiful tool to unblock creativity. So this could be used for like writers, for even teachers, for students, for anyone, or like I pick a card every morning just to kind of like set a day. Um, there was a time in my life when I would pick the same card every single day.
Hmm.
And the word was patience.
Oh, great.
And I was really impatient. I was like, at that time, I wanted to move from Costa Rica. I really needed things to move. I had to make a decision. I was like, I was impatient. And then I would pull a card that says patience. And then, like, someone, my friend, pull a card, or a card would just like fall from the deck. And it's patience and patience and patience. And I'm like, well, they're really telling me something. Okay, let's pick a card for today's podcast. Let's see. So I'll find them out. Hey, spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Yeah, great.
What does it say?
Plan to be spontaneous tomorrow or now.
Well, we are pretty spontaneous.
I would say so. Maybe we can hop on that topic, spontaneous. What does it like? Could you imagine planning all these trips, or did it had to be like that? That is like organically leading you from one place to the other?
Um, I mean, I always loved to plan. In Canada, there is this thing that you need to plan. Like,
Hmm.
you know what will happen in a year from now.
Hmm.
You plan always. And like things just go according to plan. You plan and it happens. Um, when I moved to Europe, I realized that especially in Southern Europe, in Italy, things happen more spontaneously. Things don't really go to according to plan. Um, and I had to really change my personality in a way, my views on life, because I realized that I could plan something in like a week from now, and then things happen and my plan just crashes. So I had to get used to not planning. And with all of my movement around the world, I mean, obviously, I really want to plan and I really would want to know where I will be in 2 months from now because I don't know. I actually, but my life has started moving really fast. And like, I literally don't know where I'm going to be physically, on which, for example, islands of Hawaii in 2 weeks. So when you live like this, when you really don't know where you're going to be, it is pretty spontaneous. And I had to come in peace with that it's okay. It's the way that life is happening now, and it's fine.
How do you make money when you're like so spontaneous and moving and not knowing where you're gonna be in the next weeks? How do you do a routine and how do you work and make money?
Yeah, that doesn't really work this for me. So, I I had some money saved from all of the design work that I was doing, and I was like, if I can live from my savings, can I do that? Like instead of buying something, buying a car, for example, can I just stretch this money over a few years and just
Hmm.
live from that? At the moment, I didn't know, but I just decided to give it a try because I realized that the work that I was doing, like design work, was, as you said, routine. Routine could be good and it could be bad at the same time. I realized that sitting so much in front of the computer really hurts my neck, my back, and there is a lot of pressure, especially when there is like a time frame. Because in the industry that I worked in design and cosmetic industry, when they give me a brief, the deadline is yesterday. So they need something super quickly. The turnaround had to be really quick, and I had to work a lot. And then I think I overworked, and I was like, I just cannot work the way that I used to work before. And then when I reconnected with my art, I was I was thinking, can I make money doing art instead of doing that, like, okay, my design job is not really like an office job, but I worked in the office before I started moving. But it's like a computer job, so I need computer, internet connection, I need to focus and work. Um, and then when I did sunset painting meditations with people, I realized that work can be different. Work could actually bring you a lot of pleasure. Work could be not restricted to the computer and routine. Work could be enjoying sunset and painting it with people. Like that's really beautiful. And when I discovered that, I was like, wow, it's amazing that some people can really do that. Like I feel my ultimate goal would be making money through that.
Mhm. So so you would, is it like a phase where you are totally rewinding yourself from the
I
overwork
think
you
so.
did before and reconnecting to the nature, figuring out where is your specific home? Um, so it sounds like it's a journey back to
It is.
yourself, right? Yeah. Um, so what do you think? Like, because many people that I my coaching, they really want to know what's next. And when there's like things that are not, yeah, that are unknown, obviously it scares people. Like a lot of people are, yeah, very nervous when they don't know what's next, what's coming up and stuff. What would you say? What helped you to be so confident and trust that everything unfolds anyways? What helped you for that?
So I think the big thing for me was I think I read it in a book. Yeah. If if tomorrow never comes, if today is your last day here, how would you want to live this day? And when I tell this to, some people who I know, my friends, they're like, this is a depressive thought. And I'm like, no, this is not a depressive thought at all. It doesn't mean that you're going to die. Like, I don't think of it like, oh, today is my last day. Like, tomorrow I'm dead. No, not at all. It's different. It's like, living really in the present moment, living today. Of course, we cannot do everything that we want to do today, but, and sometimes, I have a day that I can say it was a useless day. Like I didn't do anything, I didn't accomplish anything. I had a list of things that I had to do and I didn't do any of them. But the thing is the future is really uncertain. And really today could realistically be the last day because we don't know when that last day is. So it's like how much value do you bring in yourself today? How much do you live today for yourself? Because a lot of times we live for someone, for something, for your work or for kids or for um, something that we have to do. And I just came to this understanding that I really want to live. And a lot of the other thing when it comes to money making, it's like we make money because we hope to live one day. We're working hard today to be able to have that future tomorrow. Um, but it's in that process, and it's a good process, but in that process, it's important to also live today. So, um, when it comes to work, I'm still because I'm in this transformational phase where I really want my work to be my passion. As much as I love designing, I just don't want to spend my life in front of the computer. I really want to spend it with people. I really want to have that energetic exchange with creativity because creativity is something that I have. I have that creative energy and I would love to share it with the world. And I think it's important to really have that job that really fulfills that passion.
So would you say that can you make money out of that art already?
Right now, no. I just got this cards printed. Like I ordered a big bulk, manufacturing bulk. And now I'm putting it online on different sales channels and looking for a distributor because again, what I realized, it's important to have a team and focus on what you can do the best. For example, I can create, but I'm not so good in sales. So to delegate that different tasks is important. So I created an awesome product, and now it's the matter of putting it in front of people.
What would you think, like, what could you do immediately to create money in order to be able to stretch that time longer, to be, yeah, living that lifestyle that you created yourself for longer time? Because there will be one day probably where the money finishes, and then, like, how could you create right
Yes.
away something?
So this has been a question for a while that I'm like, okay, I cannot make money just with my art yet. I hope that one day that will be the case. And if before I was like, I'm not doing any design work because you know how there was a time, there was like a trend when people who had ideas, who decided to start their own business, they were quitting their office jobs and they were like full on into their business. And many people done that. And then there was another trend of saying instead of just going full in into your business, maybe it's a good idea to have your job or to have a part-time job instead of full-time, to have that kind of like a safety net where you can still rely on your income and then also do your side business. So when I was doing my entrepreneurial journey, I saw two trends of like quitting the job and doing your passion and then kind of keeping the balance. So now I'm thinking that I might try to do that to see if there is a balance in doing like freelance design to sustain my life and then in the meanwhile really going for my passion. Because by the time my passion really grows, that needs time, like everything. And that does also need resources, which is financial resources too. So I think it's a process. And for me, when I was like, I'm just doing art, I I didn't really see it like happening. Maybe for some people it really works, that they're like, I've decided that I'm doing my passion and everything kind of falls into place and clicks. That wasn't my case. So I'm trying different equations, basically. I don't know what is the right or wrong answer.
There's no
But
right or wrong answer. No, I mean, I think I'm very different to that. I'm similar but different to a lot of topics that you're saying. Like, I'm also very creative. I love my freedom. I love the liberty of traveling. I was this year in French Polynesia, where it was also 10 to 11 hours time difference. Um,
Mhm.
and there I took the time totally off. I didn't work at all, but it was 5 weeks. Um, and but in general, I enjoyed a lot to be abroad for a long time as well. Like last year, I was 5 months in Asia and working at the same time, and I made more money than I would do in my regular day. It was a funny thing
In
about
Asia?
in Asia,
Interesting.
because I mean, I'm coaching online, so. Yeah, I was attracting so many clients that I was even creating more money and felt super chill at the same time because Asia has this time zone where in the morning I was diving pretty much every day. Mostly if I'm lucky, I don't pay for the scuba diving because I'm a dive master. So I could also ask the diving school if they need some help, and in exchange, I dive basically for free if I want to.
Awesome. Awesome.
Um, and then in the afternoon, it is morning time in Germany. So I did my coachings until evening and then had a dinner and pretty much went to sleep early and next morning diving again. So that was a very, very natural and nice rhythm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and in French Polynesia, I took the time totally off because I wanted to be fully present, diving or swimming with the humpback whales.
Mm-hmm.
That was my big dream for a long time about the humpback whales. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now I also thought about how it would be to stay longer in French Polynesia because I really like the vibe over there. And also, I would like to travel to Hawaii, obviously. That's also an
Mm-hmm.
area I'm very hooked on because there's also a lot of ocean life and whales and stuff and the cold culture and I totally get that with the cold as well. Like some winters in Portugal, I mean I'm living in Portugal for 4.5 years now, and some winters where I was also like, oh dear, I need warmer areas. Even though my friends were like, are you crazy? You're living at the beach already, but still. And now it's actually a winter where I decided to spend more time in Germany, and it's very funny because yeah, it's quite okay. I thought I'm gonna freeze a lot, but it's nice. I go to my old yoga studio, free diving in the swimming pool inside here. So there's always ways, no matter where you are in the world. But I was also thinking about what I have found for myself the most valuable way to work in a passionated area is, I mean, the coaching that I created, it's working from all over the world, online from wherever, and it's my biggest passion ever, and it makes good income. So that is my base for everything, anyways. And then what I try everywhere where I go to do something local. So either connecting with the locals in general, learning the language, or also in diving, I can like give a little input or yeah, ocean cleaning projects, which I would like to join more, or also now I'm looking for more opportunities to be part of the ocean. It's like to be part of ocean projects itself without having to study marine biology. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because it's also a big dream of mine, study marine biology, but then it's a 4 years bachelor of biology and 2 years master in marine biology. And yeah, there's associations all over the world where yeah, where they need pretty much all kind of stuff, sales, which I'm very good in sales, or different kind of fields and whatever kind of background we have. I mean, you have the graphic designing background. Every kind of company also that is more sustainable or whatever has more field work, because that's also something that I would love to do more, to be part of the nature, in touch with the animals, for instance, and stuff. So a lot of people think they have to create a totally new passion, or totally new field of profession, but that's not the case, I think. Like, I believe that you can take what's already there and implement it in a new framing, meaning
Mm-hmm.
by the designing itself, you like it, right? So the artificial, like the art stuff around it, you like it. So there's so many ways that it's possible to blend that in into a new framing. So that's what I'm always telling my clients, like what, no matter what kind of background they studied before or worked for a longer time, even in the corporate world, it's always possible to take the parts of it, which there's always parts which we loved, no matter what it
Yeah.
was. And there's parts that we don't love, and then it's about to pick this like the cherries out of it and see in the new framing how to implement it. And I think that's the beauty of it, because then it's always possible to create while having the best life, because money is very important in order to have a free life. But also, I think in the same time, it's very brave that you're saying, okay, I live for my savings for a while and give myself the freedom and stretch that money, because it's incredible how less money is needed to have a good lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that for traveling it needs so much money, but the more you're connecting with the locals and the more you're like blending in with their culture and being willing to, yeah, be open, like there will be so many doors that are opening and so many
Yeah.
opportunities. that make it possible again to not have this touristic lifestyle. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
in this aspect we're very similar. Also, I'm not interested in, even if I'm traveling for short time, I'm not that interested to, yeah, obviously we're tourists if we go somewhere else, and it's like, first of all, when you're like a stranger, let's say, or foreigner somewhere, but at the same time it's about the openness towards a new culture, towards their language, towards their food, their behaviors, their habits and stuff. And I think that's what it makes so valuable, to be open really, and like receive, like to perceive the new that is coming out of that. Because it to me it's not just the temperature itself or the weather or the circumstances of the nature, it's also the whole environment. Like French Polynesia has an incredible culture, which is very, they're very rooted, but at the same time, like they're very like, I don't know, it's such a new spirit that I have never experienced before, that I
Mm-hmm.
was feeling drawn towards it even before I've been there for a long time. And yeah, I think that that all together makes it very special. And then taking your own needs and values as a base, and then seeing what's all there, observing what kind of lifestyles there are, because there's so many different lifestyles. Um, and then looking, just blending in and making your own like mosaic, what suits you best. That's in my eyes like what I see. Um, yeah, works best, because just going for one profession the entire life. I mean, most people that I'm coaching and myself, it's yeah, it's getting boring after a while, but at the same time, with the coaching, for example, I found a way that it's not boring for me ever, because I do it more for more than 4.5 years now, and I could totally imagine myself doing that for so much more. Like, I can't say forever, obviously, because I never know, but it's something that I always can blend in new tools, new even from the humpback whale swims, from the freediving that I'm doing, from I had a Reiki course or whatever kind of stuff, yoga sessions that I was teaching when I was a bit like some years ago. There's always things that I can implement into that work. So it's never getting boring. And every time it's with different people. So people are never boring. Every person is so different. And I think it's very important to find a way where, yeah, you can like basically live all of this. And that's why I invited you here, because I think it's very beautiful to see how you're just like going towards the unknown and just trying it out, figuring it out. Do you like it or not? And then now you can say, okay, like you made that experiences in different countries. You can say what you like about it. You can say what you dislike or found in another place better. And yeah, like we are all free. We can do whatever we want. So there is no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also beautiful to see, to just give yourself the freedom saying like, okay, I'm more than aware right now. I'm living for my savings. So then it's like that. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
decision. We can all take our own decisions. And I think that's very important to realize, because once we think we are not able to decide for ourselves, that's creating a very
Boundaries.
boundaries and very limiting. It's very limiting, that kind of thoughts in my eyes. Um, and no matter what kind of situation you're in right now, to the ones that are listening, it's like you can always create in the way you desire to have your life. Even if it's an
Mm-hmm.
employed job, it doesn't matter if that's the decision that that person takes for themselves. It's the freedom as well to do that and to stay there. Or, yeah, going abroad and working remotely, or going abroad and just like figuring it out. It's like it can be everything, as soon as a decision comes from oneself, I believe.
Yes, and I would say to comment on that, I also started thinking about things as an experience. So even when you do something that maybe you don't love so much, it's also an experience. So working a corporate job is an experience doing a freelance or being your own boss is an experience, and every experience is teaching you something. So it's basically everything what you're saying. Um, but you just think about it as not there was good or bad, I failed or I succeeded. You're like, this was an experience and this was an experience and that was an experience. And because life is just full of experiences. And if we just sit and do nothing, I mean, that is also an experience. But that gives kind of freedom, flexibility, and you also feel like, yeah, you're free and you have a power to choose. And if something doesn't go according to what you thought, it's just an experience. You learn from it and then you move forward.
Yeah. Nice. Do you have for the 2025, because we're almost finishing the year now, 2024, do you have a big goal for yourself personally, like big dream of yours that you would like to realize?
I I wanted to say to settle. No, I don't
Yeah,
think
why
that is going
not?
to. If it's going to happen, that would be amazing. But I had this dream for a while now, and it's again, it's just interesting how life, unfolds. Um, yeah, I would say it would be amazing to settle down and to focus because also moving like this, it's frustrating. Like, I mean, I enjoy it. I absolutely love it. Um, but I think it would be nice just to settle. And I would say a dream would be to have an art studio and really fall into that creative part. Um, or to have a mobile art studio that I can I can move with me anywhere I go. I would say um, to find a way to really get my art to the point that that's my full-on time job and to settle to be in that
What
one
would you
place.
say? How can you realize that?
Which one?
To settle. I mean, that's a decision in my eyes, just to make a decision and settle. What do you think does it need for that?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure yet. I mean, for example, I would love to settle in Hawaii, but Hawaii is a US state, so it would be like immigrating to the US.
I believe in it like this. Like life is very clever, and especially, I mean, you're also a person where so many things are happening within a month, a year, whatever. So, if you like, I believe that most of the time we don't have to know how, we just have to
Mhm.
know what we want, and then it can like unfold in the most incredible
Yeah,
ways
I,
that
I
we
believe
wouldn't.
in that too.
Mm.
So if it's meant to be, it will be. At the same time, I was thinking, well, when we really listen to ourselves, I think it's very important to connect and be like really straightforward, like what do I want? And when I think like if I was to stay here in Hawaii and live here like years after years after years and really like settle here, I also don't know if that's the best thing because Hawaii is so far away. Like it's really beautiful to stay here for the season, for the winter time, but maybe the whole year is just, not the best. So I am also, as you were saying, things will unfold the way that they unfold, and there's beauty in that.
So, for everyone that is listening, what kind of wish or yeah idea would you like to share before we ending here?
I would say to listen to your heart. It's important, especially when it comes to work, to do something that is your heart's calling. And that is also your unique gift. Um, like one of my cards here It says, the word is, I don't know if I'll find it now, but it says you. Here it is. It says you, and here it says be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have our unique gifts, our talents, our personality, and I don't, I mean, we were raised in a way that we had to fix the box and fit certain constraints of society and maybe be like someone else, have a role model or and those things could be good, but when you're really like in tune with yourself, when you're like, this is my gift, I recognize, like, for example, you, I'm pretty sure the way that you talk about your coaching, that's your unique gift, and you're shining that gift. You're sharing that with people, you're motivating them, you're inspiring them, you're coaching them, and that's you. So that's you, and just be yourself. So I would say it's important to really connect with your own power. Be yourself. Don't be like anyone else. Just really embody what does it mean to be you and share those gifts with the world.
Yeah, and also I would like to add like to not judge, like to not judge this was bad, this was good, like it's all experiences that are needed to happen. Like if it's a frustration, it's also a very nourishing feeling because it shows that this is not the right way. And then it's just like simply showing that the direction should be maybe like a little bit adjusted. That's all. So yeah, to not judge and to just be truly yourself. Yeah.
I have another card for that that says the word is curious and it says be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah. Nice, Valerie. I'm very happy that we found the time now finally to talk together, and I was very happy to see you again. And I'm very curious about your new projects that you're planning or that will unfold.
That will unfold.
Yes. And yes, I will also put a link of your Instagram in the show notes so that people can, yeah, connect with you or like get an inspiration from what you're doing right now. And also, everyone that wants to follow the podcast, feel free to be part of it. Also, you can text me if you want to be a guest in the podcast and rate the show with 5 stars to, yeah, make it more visible for others as well. And yeah, thank you so much, Valerie. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Been a pleasure too. Thank you.
To